Seth,
Cool.
are you alive?
Yep.
Okay.
As we're just kind of talking, so just letting you go.
So now the
Yeah.
anti-trait vote, the negative
Yep.
vote.
So yeah, now we're doing the voted off the island.
Okay.
In addition to voting for new traits for a character, the GM or owning player may propose that a character lose a trait. If the GM proposes the loss of a trait, a unanimous result is required for the trait to be voted off. If the owning player suggested it, a simple majority will do.
Is it still suggesting one each?
No, this is just GM and player.
And the one player who owns one each
Yep.
for both of them. Okay.
Okay.
So
What's the GM?
you said you had some
I've got-
ideas, Sith. So what are your
Yeah.
thoughts?
I picked one for each of you.
Okay. Let's start with us.
Zen, you sounded like you had an idea though.
Yeah, rabble rouser. I don't think I touched on that once.
Okay.
I don't think
My
so.
thoughts for Nico was paranoid. Because I think your drive to be with the organization was a little better than any sort of paranoia you might have. And Sixth Sense sort of covered your concern for goods.
Right.
So I didn't think you really did a lot with paranoid. Cool. Did you want to...
Well, we have to vote on it.
Yeah. Well, like, I guess what I was trying to say was, like, did you want to,
Yes.
say anything,
Yeah.
propose for or against either?
I remember trying to play into it a couple times.
We're talking about
Specifically,
paranoid, right?
like when we started, he was doing paranoid. He was like circuiting the camp when we first started, checking the perimeter and everything else.
Okay.
Although there were some actions that are very anti-paranoia. Him like just walking straight down an obviously trapped hallway.
Well, it's not paranoia.
Is
it's
this-
true.
Yeah, again, is paranoia, is this like the modern paranoia, like everyone's out to get me sort of thing? Or
All it is a character trait. But I think you
Yeah,
got
so-
it from being a smuggler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
well,
are careful about guarding the artifact, but it never was relevant.
yeah, but paranoid
Well, that-
seems like a
because-
larger word than that, because paranoid is like a personality disorder where you think that
Right,
like,
but
it's-
this is character trouble.
No.
Like, his rabble rouser and the one I picked, paranoid, are both character level traits. So
that we want to remove, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
that we're saying Nico isn't either of these right now.
Yeah,
Does
I-
Nico
yeah.
want to
Or-
lose paranoia?
I'd rather lose rabble rouser because like that was something
Well, both-
that I didn't even try to play into.
we were thinking both.
both are up for vote. Rabble rouser requires just a majority, and paranoid requires unanimous.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure if voting off the island, where only the owning player and GM nominate things, if unanimous then means also the person with the trait, or the player owning player as well.
Well, normally the player, it doesn't specifically say they can vote, and it was previously established they can't vote. So I think that
I think if the GM suggests, if the player suggests it, obviously that's to vote for getting rid of it. So
Yeah.
that's why it's only
There should-
simple majority. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't think they can vote, but the player suggesting it already gives an advantage towards losing it
Right.
if
Yeah.
they want to. Okay. I vote lose for both.
Okay.
I don't think you've done
yeah,
Rebel Rouser. But I could be convinced either way on paranoid.
I'm voting against, or I'm voting to
Lose
lose
or keep.
both.
Just
Yeah.
lose or keep starts
Yeah.
the confusion.
And so,
Yeah, I think paranoid depends on your definition, but if we're going with you didn't
well, like, also, like, this kind of goes into like some different things, but like with Paranoid, right? Like we figured out there was traps and stuff, and that really didn't change Nico's outlook on things. Like he was
He
totally
wasn't
fine.
like, I knew it.
You know, once you figured out like there was gas gems in the ice around stuff, like it wasn't that like, oh no, we can't touch anything here. Like he was a bit cautious, but he like didn't freak out or anything, right?
Mhm.
So, I mean, I
Is
know
that
that sort of
even
goes to like the
necessary?
extreme of how someone might work with it. And we're talking about traits that probably people aren't talking about.
Yeah. It's sort of a reverse
but-
thing, but
Yeah. Yeah, I guess those are all sort of like as examples, right? But cause this one's kind of weird, right? Because like I'm ignoring some other traits he has.
Yeah.
Instead of that one.
World Health Organization lists like at least 3 of the following symptoms of paranoia, and I don't think that many of these have been displayed, which is just why I'm saying no. Excessive sensitivity to setbacks or rebuffs, tendency to bear grudges, suspiciousness and pervasive tendency to distort experience by misconstruing the neutral or friendly actions of others as hostile or contemptuous, which I think is the most common paranoid thing.
Right.
The most commonly
I don't,
portrayed one.
yeah, and I don't think, well, that's my argument. So,
Yeah, in the standard definition of paranoia, I don't think Nico has
Right.
Mhm.
exhibited that at all.
All right,
Yeah.
we can get rid of
If
that.
anything, he would be more wary than paranoid.
Yeah.
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 I can't really think of anything even super paranoid about. So yeah, that's X.
So,
X both.
Okay. So
Okay.
unanimous lose for both.
so both
That
were,
makes my life a lot easier.
yeah.
You can always add it in
Uh,
if you feel like being paranoid later.
Did anyone else have any thoughts about traits they wanted to do?
For us,
Or lose?
okay. I don't think Ernest is very boisterous. That's one of his cultural traits. That doesn't sound
Okay.
like him in the slightest.
You know what? That was also what I was going to suggest for Ernest.
Okay. Well, I could suggest another then.
You don't have to get rid
I
of
don't think
traits.
he's-
You know. Collecting traits is a good thing.
Oh yeah, you don't have to lose a trait. It's more of like if a trait annoys you.
All 3 of my cultural traits basically just annoy me. But so I will vote for, nominate Imperious. I don't think Ernest is imperious. He is very neutral when it comes to the continent.
No, I agree. He doesn't act that. In fact, you have belief against acting like that, I think. So.
My belief was at one point was to show like people that not all continentals are as like
Well, I
terrible.
didn't think imperious meant that. I thought it meant more of like you just really like conquering things, right? Or like
It does mean
they're
that.
sort of like a manifest destiny type vibe.
You might have that.
However,
things.
that was the only belief I really had relating to the continent at all, so that's why I've said it. Imperious, assuming power or authority without justification. Oh, okay, maybe not then. Because I
I
tend to
think
just
you
take
might
command whenever.
keep that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might have completely misunderstood then.
Yeah. I think you
So you've actually
misunderstood.
been playing into that.
Yeah, bossy / overbearing is what Imperious actually means. It doesn't mean conquering necessarily.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
definitely were imperious.
Okay.
Right. It's a behavior,
Or at least
not
to me.
not a thing.
Yeah.
And you definitely would behave that way.
But yeah, I guess, and also my reasoning with like boisterous, right? Like my option to add was like stoic, which is like very calm and collected, and boisterous seems like the opposite of that.
Yeah.
So that's why I was offering that.
Oh.
There's some other traits you have. Ernest has a lot of traits right now, so like
I do. I'm looking at them all.
Oh wait, I can look at them all too.
I'm just trying to think if I don't know if broken should be removed or not. Because there's still this sort of constant broken, but only to a certain person, and that's not what broken is as a
Right.
trait. That's what my loyal trait is. And so maybe I don't think I haven't acted broken towards anyone. I've acted loyal towards
want you to have a relationship with
You would
another
want me to
person.
act like a normal person, right?
I would want you to have a healthy relationship with the NPC.
Which broken doesn't allow. So you would have been encouraging me to.
But I would want you to do that before I voted it off. But I'm thinking
Before
of it like
what?
We haven't seen that come up.
Yeah, we haven't seen. Well,
I'm thinking of it like
Ernest,
lame.
Yeah,
just because you didn't act lame doesn't mean you're not lame.
Which is why I'm voting to remove it. Yeah. Well, that's a physical one. You can't really remove that unless you specifically. It's like my sickly trait that's earned. If that was ever to be lost, it would need to be, instead of something that just never comes up, it would need to be something that does come up that I no longer have it.
Why are you considering physical and mental scars differently?
Because you can change your behavior, you can't grow back a leg.
I don't think that's correct. Okay.
I do.
You don't have control over your emotional state.
Okay. So I don't think broken has come up very much, and Ernest doesn't seem like a very broken individual. To me, what I nominate.
Well, so I guess one of my things with that is that it's a die treat, and so I don't know if we want to go straight to voting it completely off, or if we want to think about how we can vote to downgrade it, or if that's a thing, or is that, would that be something different because you guys want to talk about? Because the book doesn't really talk about it too much. With that stuff.
Broken came from your slave days, right?
Broken was from a long time ago. Then I was a soldier. Then I was in command. Right. It was automatically came with the life path thing.
Yeah.
But it feels to me like Ernest has left that life behind.
I don't think that's been demonstrated enough at this point.
But this isn't about. This is more about not Broken itself not coming into play, right? Or in this case, is that not the case?
What I'm saying is that the situation to prove that you aren't broken hasn't come up.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So it's not so much that you haven't used the trait. It's like that we haven't seen the opposite of the trait
because it's a mandatory trait.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense.
Is that kind of what you're saying, Zed?
Yeah. Like when someone starts intimidating you and seducing you and stuff like that, when you start not acting like you're just going to acquiesce to whatever they want you to do, then I'll be more than happy to say, sense. No, that guy's not broken.
Yeah.
Right.
I took Light Sleeper. I chose it, but it never actually came up. I tried to have it come up a couple times. But only if we get ambushed in the night will let it come up.
Yeah, that one's weird because the die trait ability for that is just being able to wake up really easily in case you get ambushed, not you don't have to sleep a lot, which is what you were trying to do with it sometimes.
Well, no, I think I originally intended it for that purpose, but then I would just say, sometimes I would just wake up in the middle of the night when someone just snored loudly, and then I figured, while I'm up, I'll go check on Lord Edwin. Or something like that.
I didn't quite get that vibe of the, someone woke you up, and then you'll check, but...
I think I mentioned that once.
It's come up in play, so I think it's still something for future stuff. But
yeah.
Do you feel that Ernest is very close-minded? I felt that he hasn't really been very specifically open or closed-minded either.
Right? Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if that trait's been challenged enough either way.
Okay. So in that case,
there was definitely the one your original one, and the one I was also going to talk about, right? Boisterous, right?
Yeah.
So, do you wanna...
I think just that one is. I myself in that case will not nominate any.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a majority for boisterous?
Yeah, I'd vote for getting rid of it.
Okay. Golden?
Oh man, do you want to get rid of boisterous?
Yeah. Do you think Ernest is very boisterous?
We haven't seen Ernest. I mean, we haven't seen Ernest in a social situation.
He's
But
been
kind
talking
of
with laborers and stuff.
I've been talking with laborers. I talked to the guy they captured, and that didn't turn out well for him.
With the trait stuff, I don't think it's really about the player wanting a trait to be lost or not. It's like,
I can
If I
still
want a
ask
trait
if I
to
want
do you,
to.
do you,
Yeah,
do you
I
think...
want it to be lost.
Okay.
That's fine. I can get rid of it.
Okay.
It affects me because.
Yeah, I mean, and I think Ernest has had some opportunity to be boisterous. I mean, when he took down those guards, he could have like
Yelled after.
He did not.
taking it to the gamer extreme. He could have teabagged him, but he didn't.
Yeah, he hasn't bragged like.
Right.
He could have bragged a lot. And he didn't. So okay, yeah, let's get rid of it.
My boisterousness is punching a person in the face over and over again.
Yeah.
That's my "I'm better than you" speech.
And finally, Lord Edwin Wilson.
Okay.
I can't see your traits, but then again, I don't nominate them. So
No.
All right. Was there any traits you were unsure of?
I think he shouldn't be double superstitious.
Yeah, I was thinking of getting rid of superstitious as well.
Here's the thing. Edwin believes in the supernatural. He believes in magic. He believes in monsters. He believes artifacts have power. Most people don't. In their eyes, he would be superstitious. Does actually believing in those things make you superstitious, or do you have to be fearful of them?
And how I've always thought of the trait, it's that certain things can be done to people, or like certain situations or elements might happen, and it seemed like when those opportunities were present in play, it didn't really affect Edwin either way, and so I don't really think he cared about any sort of possible curses or things like that that might have affected him. Zen, you were about to say something?
Well, I was going to point out, like, one of the superstitious is like an actual trait for you. Another one's cultural, right?
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so
I do think we need to make the distinction, like, is he superstitious in the same way his culture is, or is he superstitious in his own way?
okay.
This is why I'm saying like, he believes in all these supernatural forces. And you're saying, like, what I hear you saying is, like, you should be making up things to be afraid of. That sounds more like paranoia. Like, yes, there are curses,
It is
but there was
kind of a
no
lesser degree of
sign.
paranoia.
There was no sign that there were curses there.
But superstition isn't necessarily being afraid of something. It's
Exactly.
you know,
Like,
It's this esoteric set of rules,
so
basically.
here's what the example I was thinking of. Think about the X-Files. Fox Mulder believes in everything. Does he run away from it? Hell no. He goes and he tries to make sense out of it. He believes in UFOs. They think he thinks he abducted his sister. That's some scary shit. You run away from UFOs? No, he goes to the UFO. Fox Mulder is super superstitious.
Getting back to my,
he's not afraid of it.
Getting back to my point about the cultural thing, then, what do the people of Path Askew act like? Are they Fox Mulders in that they will go toward the supernatural, or are they, throwing salt over their shoulder and not stepping on cracks?
I think it's the latter kind. I think it's the cultural thing. It's the cultural perception of them. Remember?
Yeah.
The cultural perception of them is that they're afraid of the supernatural. Edwin is not.
Okay.
These are probably different kinds of superstitious.
Yeah. So with that definition in terms of the game world, I don't think you are superstitious.
Can we change it to something else that more fits?
So I guess
believing in the supernatural? Okay.
I guess also there was like the idea that like for like superstitious stuff to me like something was done, therefore I should do this other thing to counteract it. Like, to me, that's like some stuff that happens with superstitious
I
as
looked
a
up
trait.
superstitious. Yeah, it's the belief in supernatural causality that one event causes another without any natural process linking the two events.
Right. That just never came up.
So it's very broad stroke. It specifically says it includes astrology, religion, omens, witchcraft, and prophecies.
Yeah.
The idea. Where did you read that?
I
On
googled
Wikipedia?
superstitious.
Yeah.
So yes. So it's
That's
that
an
is a
entirely
very
different
broad
kind of
stroke.
superstition. That's magical thinking. That's not necessarily
What
superstition.
were you, that's what superstitious means. What do you mean?
Well, I explained. It's the belief in the supernatural. That's
Yeah,
what he believes
that it said it includes like
I don't
religion and
believe
magic
that to
and
be what
everything.
superstitious is.
Belief in the supernatural is, well, that is, they're linked one and the same, I guess, in a way.
Yeah, you have to have that belief in order to be superstitious in the first place. Like you
Right.
you have to, you know. So, but as far as the trait vote goes, I would say culturally you are not superstitious.
I agree.
Now how we define the character trait of superstitious might lead into more what
The definition
your view of
is,
superstition is, you know.
So I would suggest you guys downgrade it to believer.
Well, there's no downgrading this
Well, we
because
did
it's a
talk
character
about
trait.
downgrading other traits.
Those were die traits and colon traits.
they were just like downgrading the power of the trait while it kept the same definition. This is changing the definition of a trait.
Yeah.
What we would do is remove it, and then next session, if you played up the superstitious, which I don't think you even need to change your character to do that, if you played up what the new word that we would use for that, you would get that new trait.
How would you
Automatically,
play
basically.
out believing in the supernatural? Unless the
Well,
supernatural did not
honestly,
appear in the game.
I honestly think you already did with that speech.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And just so keep doing similar things like that. Like,
Okay.
not only towards people other than the party, but like talk about things that you see or know that the rest of us or our characters have no evidence for, and try to and like talk about that with us, because that is to a lesser degree what someone who is not superstitious would view someone who is superstitious, which is like you talking about the thing chasing you.
Okay.
So it sounds like the cultural trait is the one Golden is bringing up, and I was bringing up the other superstitious because he technically does have superstitious twice.
Oh, okay.
I would like to keep
So
one of them.
is there a simple majority for the cultural one?
Cultural one, I think we should be lost.
I think so too. But the second one is unanimous.
Yeah.
Which I'm not sure if that is there yet.
Well, since I said I would like to keep one of them,
if they're
I
different
wouldn't put them both up
definitions,
for both.
technically, then I think he should keep the regular superstitious.
I had always been working under the assumption that they were the same,
Yeah, that's the sort of.
and so I guess that was one of
Switch.
those things.
Zen, what do you think?
Yeah, I'd say since it's a character trait. Now, character traits in the book have no standard definition.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
So you can define that however you can color that, let's say, however you wish.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, keeping the character trait seems like the way to go.
I think let's
At
keep
this
it and
point.
then just
Like,
recolor it.
I think it's more easily upgraded to something better on the next trait vote.
Especially if we already are talking about voting it in next session. It's like, well, let's just not get rid of it and just recolor it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
All right. So which one do you want me to get rid of?
The cultural one.
We can actually
cultural
vote
one,
off
yeah.
cultural traits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's.
I mean, it's-
they basically start with cultural traits, and then over time we see if how your character conforms and differs from the broad culture.
All right, that's cool.
That's
I thought
how.
we were stuck with those
That's how
forever.
Ernest lost boisterous.
All right, that's fine.
do you two GMs have the list of cultural traits so that you can know what the generality? Yep. Okay, cool.
So that's the end of scenario stuff and the trait vote. Next up is we wanted to talk about the resource cycle. Even though there's a little bit of overlap from when this will actually happen, I think we should look into that. So, listed below are obstacles for containing various evil lifestyles. Okay. Once every cycle, each player must test his resources against his lifestyle obstacle. Determine the obstacle below based on how he has been living, the assets that he maintains. Okay. So, this I didn't give a lot of forethought, so I'm going to need to figure out what some of these odds are. It's page 372, if you have the book.
Yeah, I really can't determine what my odds should be. I tried.
I want to say that Ernest and Nico are at an ob 2.
Okay. How is it calculated?
There's a chart.
The ob 2 is working poor, small family, or rented cottage, poor knight or adventurer, you and your horse on the road. And that's kind of where I think you guys were at.
Okay. The question I have is, I have no property except what I have on me. And I think that we mentioned that was important for some reason.
It is. Higher level obs have property included.
Okay. So, okay.
And
out of curiosity, what is Ob 1, just so I know?
Ob 1 is peasant day laborer, no home, property, or possessions to speak of.
Okay, so definitely Ob 2. Cool.
Ob 3 is maintaining a family in the city, maintaining a small business, such as a cobbler's shop, maintaining oneself as a knight, horse, armor, weapons, and one squire or second. I'm kind of torn between that or the next one, Lord's Manor, wealthy peasant or modest merchant, medium-sized business or a small blacksmith. Mordred Wayne is somewhere between a 3 and a 4.
Yeah. So I don't have a manor, but how many servants do I have? That to me is the question.
Where are your servants?
I don't know. I don't even know. Do you count me as having paid for all the people that went on the expedition as my servants? Would you consider that I am the one who paid Ernest and Nico? Do I have?
Well, you have property. You have a small estate.
Yeah.
So,
well, I don't actually have an estate. That's what I keep saying. Edwin is a cheap guy. He doesn't.
What did you buy with your?
Oh, you mean? Okay.
Yeah, you have a small business and a house.
Right, but that's not an estate. Okay.
But a small business and a house would be.
That's definitely like up for
It's probably a medium-sized business. Yeah.
Yeah, it's growing.
So Ob's 4? Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right, so I'll roll mine.
And so this is where the cash die and all the other things have. Like, if you have cash, you can add it as a singular helping dice.
Yeah.
Other people can help if you can figure out how to get other people to help.
Lord Edwin.
You run 0 dice for Obs 2, and then if you fail, then I will get taxed? I don't think so, man.
Yeah, if people help, they suffer.
Don't you pay me?
Yes, but I'm not going to accept the consequences for your inevitable failure.
Yeah, so therefore it's not a loan, so you're not loaning him the money. You're actually, this is like, the job is done, you pay Ernest, he gets a cash die somehow, I think.
Can I roll
I
to
don't know how we
generate
want to work
cash?
that.
Can you roll to give me another cash die?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with
He
that.
did that earlier. That's how Nico has 2 right now.
I
would like
will
cash die
roll to
change up.
give you a cash die.
Okay. That is an ob2 check
Let's see here. I
to
have
generate 1d of
resources
cash.
4. I'm taxed by 1 already. Oh man, so I'll be rolling 3 dice and I have to get obs 2. Can either of you help me?
I have 0 resources.
They both have 0 resources.
And
The good news is that after this, we'll have resources 1.
Just there is a thing. I think, can't circles help resources or something?
Can they?
Or is that
You
the other way
can
around?
use circles to find people, I think.
Oh, to like.
And there's
like, money?
wises and stuff. Hold
yeah,
on.
do either of you have like haggling?
Lists.
No. I am a soldier. I do not know how
Can I
to
use
haggle.
estate management to fork into resources? I don't think so.
I don't think that. No, skills can't help attributes. Only. Yeah, because these are not stats.
And for resources, certain wises can help, but other than
Yeah, I think those are for specific
Okay.
resources tests, not the maintenance life cycle test.
But if you can figure out a link test, so maybe estate management can be a link test?
Oh.
What
That
would be the
makes sense.
obs for generating 1 cash on estate management?
Well, I think estate management might lower the ob of your resource thing. Hang on, let me look at estate management.
It says it's
that makes
mostly
sense.
for
Basically
getting
you're
rid of tax.
making it cheaper for your estate to exist.
Yeah.
It says it's mostly for getting rid of tax. And I am taxed.
Right, that's the sort of like find a job thing.
Mm-hmm.
Which we're not going to do.
When a player wishes to track down an item or service not commonly available, test an appropriate wise to see if the character finds it in a timely manner or finds a good deal. So that's what is kind of asked about for
Yeah.
linking tests with resources.
I don't have any wises that would help.
Okay, so for estate management, it's ensuring that an estate, its workers, animals, rolling stock, and crops are well managed and tended to is a demanding and tedious task. Now it says the primary use of the skill is to recover tax resources. However, the obstacles are managing a household, a manor, a fortress, or a castle. So I think you can use it as a link test if you're managing a household to get yourself a +1 on your resource roll.
Okay.
That's how I would see it.
What would be
But it
the
does say the
odds
tools
for
are
that?
nothing but an estate. So
I'm unsure about that. Though I guess he was there for a good couple of months. So just because I find the argument hard to be like when he wasn't at his estate for the life cycle, how can he link it in?
he set up a budget before he left. Or something.
Okay.
Okay,
Sure.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
It was
alright.
definitely there long enough.
Yeah,
I'll
there
give you
are
that.
examples of people using estate management and they're not there. But what would be the odds then?
Statement. Here we go.
It's
It's like
almost
one
better.
and a half.
Yeah. Yeah, I've won.
Okay.
Not gonna link into
One.
your resources.
But if any skills I can fork into that. Whose character sheet am I looking at? I don't have falsehood.
Is it Nico's?
Wait a minute, I've had falsehood all this time? This can't be right.
I was gonna say you can't look at other people's sheets unless you're a GM. So
I've had falsehood all this time and I never used
skills.
it. Wow.
What's your falsehood
okay.
at?
1.
Oh, right.
Wait. Okay, never mind. I forgot your skills are not averaged out like mine are, so I was going to say, how do you have 1, but never mind.
Because it opened at 1, and I didn't put any points into it. Wow. Okay, can I fork in
Did you want to...
maybe hunting and instruction?
Well, how are you... What are you doing with the estate to maintain its everything?
Well, Edwin was there during the downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And during that
Right.
time, I said he was mostly using his social skills. So we could say that he was improving the social status of his household, and he was using his hunting to like bring in food for his household, and he was using instruction to teach his servants how to do a better job of serving him.
And you were you like
and
getting
unless you
consultants or tips?
I'd say with the instruction, unless you have the skills that to instruct the household people.
Right. I'm thinking...
Like,
I don't... I'm really fuzzy about like what we actually talked about during that downtime, because it's been so long. But I don't really think that seems viable for helping with keep the upkeep of the estate low.
Teaching the servants to be better doesn't fit?
No.
Okay.
That wouldn't reduce costs, no. It's not a restaurant or anything, so higher services mean more money.
Using scavenging to find things that were cheaper than you would normally pay for?
Is that what scavenging covers?
Scavenging is like getting money.
I think that sounds more like haggling to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me read scavenging to you guys.
Scavenging is like taking junk apart and for useful
stuff. The player using the scavenging skill may state what he is looking for. It can be any type of item, but it cannot be a specific or unique thing. Obstacles, junk, OBS 1. Common household goods, clothing, food, cookware, OBS 2. Hard to find items, medicine, weapons, tools, OBS 3. Valuable items, money or antiques, OBS 4. And so on. I definitely feel like common household goods, acquiring those is a thing I can do.
That seems like a previous linked test to the linked test.
Yeah.
More than a work.
Okay.
Okay, this is getting quite complicated.
Yeah, we're going meta on it.
This is way too meta. I think it's just the estate skill roll. OB 1.
All right.
Okay.
Where is it? Where is it? I cannot find it.
Do you have your estate skill?
There it is. No, that's not the problem.
Okay.
The problem is I have too many windows open.
I was like, oh no, he actually doesn't have it, just like he had falsehood. The falsehood was disguised as estate management.
Alright,
it was met. Okay. So you still have an OB 3 resources.
Is it OBS 2?
No, it was OB 3.
For generating cash?
This was a linked test for your resources.
Do you want to do the generating cash after
If you want to do the cash separate?
Alright, let's
I wasn't sure
do
where
the
that was
cash
going.
separately. Let's roll this first. Let's see how much I get taxed. I want to use my persona for this roll. So that brings me up to 4 dice, and this is an OBS 4 test. So that'll make it challenging?
Wait, what?
Hold on, let's do.
I
want a challenging test.
Okay.
See, I thought we were talking about generating cash.
Cash is an ob too.
That's right.
No, but he thought that's what we were talking about.
I thought that's what I was using estate management for, to get cash.
No, you were using estate management to link into your life cycle.
Okay. If your dice is
I don't want to fork anything into this, but I want a challenging test. So I don't want to link anything in.
Okay.
I'm going to spend persona. I have how much persona?
You can spend up to 4. You can spend up to 4 on a single roll.
How much cash are you trying to generate?
1 die.
Right now, none. I thought you were doing the resource test, right?
Now I'm going to do a resource test.
Yes.
I want a challenging roll.
Okay.
So wait a minute. Before you roll, what is your resources?
4.
3 dice.
The ob is 3.
The S. So I'm going to roll 3 dice.
Okay, so you're. And
I want a challenging roll.
Does he have the +1 from the? Hang on. Do you have the +1 from the estate management? Is that
no
a thing?
I don't want
it's
it.
Not a thing. Okay.
Linked test is when you meet, it's nothing. Above is a +1.
Yeah.
Okay, that was my misunderstanding. I'm sorry.
And the ob has to be greater dice for it to be challenging for everything, no matter how many dice you have. That's the only time challenging.
I thought the estate management for gathering cash, not for this anyhow. So I'm going to be rolling 3 dice for OBS 4.
Okay.
If it's challenging, then for every die I miss, every point I miss by, I get taxed by 1. So I'm going to use 3 of my persona here.
Okay. Because that doesn't reduce the difficulty. It doesn't change the test. No, didn't think so.
Hold on. You're saying I can't use persona on resources?
Is it resources 3 or resources 4?
Resources what's 4 with 1 tax.
Your resources stat is 4?
Yes. Or? My resources stat is 4.
Then you won't get a challenging test.
I will get a challenging test.
Your dice is 4 and the ob is 3.
Okay.
Maybe you're missing it for difficult, because challenging the ob has to be higher than the dice.
The obs will be higher than the dice, because I'll only be rolling 3 dice.
You can spend up to 3 persona.
Up to 3? I thought it was 4.
Okay.
However, you said your resources stat is 4, is that correct?
Yes.
With 1 tax?
It's 1 tax, so it goes down to 3 dice. Okay.
How do you already have a tax? I'm just curious. I don't know how this works.
He has
made a resources roll.
When I was paying for those ineffective drugs for Ernest.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
And I made it.
Awesome.
Nothing bad happened.
And you got a difficult test.
Yep, I would like to get some cash for my buddies now.
Okay.
So let's see here. So difficulty 2.
Op 2 will give you 1 die of cash.
Do I want to spend my last persona?
What if you want to make more than?
Yeah, how many do you want to risk?
That makes it harder. I can't make that test.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's like ob 3 for 2.
No, it's op 4.
So op 2 on 3 dice would be...
Op 2 generates 1 die of cash, op 4 for 2 die, op 6 for 3, op 8 for 4, and op 10 for 5.
Okay, because it's more about doing it that much in a short period of time, really.
Yeah.
It's
pretty much the number of dice you want to calculate. Just double that, that's the op.
Well, this is a routine test, so if I fail it, my dice goes down by 1.
Yep.
I'm going to... Do I want to spend a persona on this or not? I'm going to not spend a persona on this.
No, not the red. Any sixes?
No, 2s and 1s.
So I get taxed by 1.
ones.
I get 1 more tax.
Yep.
I'm going to try again. This time I am using a persona. Oh, wait.
I don't think you can try
Why
again.
can't I try again?
Because you let it ride?
Yeah, this is not
I
a
can't
change
try and generate
situation.
even more cash?
No.
Not until it's been enough time that it makes sense.
Okay.
Because this is probably what's happening during our journey
If I had
home.
known that, I would have spent a persona, but oh well.
Okay. It wouldn't have helped. You still have the persona.
So,
right.
Now we have the life cycles for Nico and Ernest.
Yep. Now,
Which I said
here's
was
my
an
question. Yeah, here's my question. Failure means you're taxed. If you're at 0, what does that mean?
Bad shit.
Especially if you're of 0 and have nothing that isn't on your person.
Right.
Yeah, it pretty much means all your cash gets spent, and you are back to 0, and you get nothing, and you don't get the test either.
You don't get the test for succeeding? Oh, for advancement, rather?
Right, because you have to succeed.
Yeah, you need successes on resources to log it.
So it's impossible for me. Oh, crap.
So,
I only have 1 die of cash.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So Nico has 2 dice?
Yeah.
Yep.
So if I help him, it'll be a routine test for me, right?
You can help Spencer or Ernest or Nico.
You can help one of them.
I'm thinking if I help
I'd
Nico,
recommend you help.
But if it's still a fail, you'll get taxed as well.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But it'll be a routine test, right? If I help him, he'll have 3 dice if he spends his cash.
You'll have an up too, yeah.
Are you going to spend your cash, Nico?
Yes.
I'm trying to get a challenging test because I only need 1. So
You only need 1?
and I've got plenty of persona to burn. So
Okay.
let's see here. How much persona do I actually have? I have 4 persona. I could just burn 3 persona and just roll that and hope for the best. I'm going to lose my cash anyway if I screw this up, right?
Yeah.
It's an op 2 test.
Decent chance if you use 3 persona with it. And then also there's the help. Because I believe Edwin can only help one of us, right? Or can he help both of us?
I'm not going to help him if he doesn't want my help. So
Okay. Yeah.
I just want I only need 1 challenging test to get my resources up to 1. That's why I'm trying to figure this out.
But if you fail,
Ernest, why don't you?
What are you saying, Zen?
Hang on 1 second.
If you fail it and you get, I would assume that the consequences of failure would happen before you advance to strat, right?
According to Sith, if you fail, you lose your cash because you used it to make the test. But the resource goes up from advancement, and then it immediately goes back down from tax, and so is bad.
That doesn't really matter because only successful tests count
That's true.
for resources.
So it wouldn't go up and
So,
the tax.
right.
really?
So
Okay.
when you have resources 0, there's not a lot of really bad stuff that happens. It's just that
You're
it
still
prolongs
stuck where you are.
you having a resources of 0.
Okay.
Still, you can't do anything with anything.
Yeah,
Okay.
you lose
And
whatever
you lose,
cash you have.
but you lose the cash either way. Even
That's
on a
true.
success, you lose the cash.
That's true. Well,
Oh, really?
if you have a 0 and then you use the cash, it's more like you've permanently gained the cash because you always have 1 die.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like, anyways.
Yeah, you gotta succeed on this
So
test.
I'm rolling a 0. If I add cash in, does that affect the grade of the test?
Or is it like how? I don't think
I think it does.
it does affect the grade if you use cash. Okay,
I think it counts
as resources.
dice from cash on hand. They only
What? So Opera just opened by itself. I don't even know anymore.
What? Did Uvu install it?
Yeah. No, wait, no. I only see Opera installed. I think it spent all this time installed. Did Skype just break?
No. Sith dropped.
Yeah.
I don't even know anymore.
Hey,
I don't even know.
we're back.
Okay, you're back. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
WB.
So yeah, cash and funds count as advantage dice, so they count towards it because everything except Arsta counts when you look at dice.
Which means that there's no...
So yeah, you'd have a routine or difficult, I think, for 2 on an op 2. However that works.
I am. But it's still my choice whether to use them for the roll or not. I'll just lose them afterwards, regardless.
You could give them to somebody else before you make the roll.
That's true. I could.
Hold this for I'm going to pay my debts.
Well,
then change it back.
You can't make it unless you actually offer the cash because you have a resource of 0.
Oh, even if we spend Artha?
You can't. I don't.
No, he wants to spend Persona.
This doesn't seem to make sense then, because we can't advance our resources in one test because if we spend the cash as if we made the test at a higher dice, which means we would then suddenly need 3 tests to advance instead of 1 test to advance at exponent 1.
Well, at resource 0, the only way to advance it is 1 challenging test.
Which every test is challenging.
Unless there's cash dice, which you have to have in order to even roll.
Yes.
So I don't understand how you get that first test.
Hold on. Let me see here. If a character's effective resources ever drop to exponent 0 due to tax, his resources exponent is depleted by 1 die. Unlike regular tax die, depleted resources may only be recouped through advancement. You cannot get a job to recover depleted resources. If your resources exponent is 0, you may not test it unless you use cash, loan, or fund dice. If your resources exponent is 0, you may not help. You may give your friends cash or funds if you have it already.
Okay.
That was page 370.
What does that say about cash? Like, where does it say that cash increases, like, your thing, your exponent count in terms of advancement?
That's just basic advancement testing.
Okay.
All right. So, but my problem with this is there is 0 way to get a challenging test at resources 0. Unless somehow you have resources 0 and 2 houses and 4 cars and 78 horses, and then your OB is high enough. But at OB 2, there's no way to do it.
Hold on.
What?
You have resources 0, or do you have no resources? So there's a big difference.
So the question I have is how we advance. If say we get a successful test, we spend the cash to be able to make the test, we get the successful test. That is 1 test. But what does that mean if it counts as if we made it as if we had resources 1?
There's actually an entry on this on the burning wheel FAQ.
So let's take this from the ground up. Resources 0. Okay, no dice to roll. You're going to need cash. Cash count toward making the grade of the test, either routine, difficult, or challenging. If you add cash, it goes down to difficult or routine.
Right.
You need 1 challenging test to get your resources to 1. There is no way at an OB 2 to advance this.
No, you only
But
need a routine
your
test
skill
to
is
advance
0.
to
You
1.
need any test.
But you said it counted as if it was
Gets
1
you-
for advancement purposes.
Hold on.
Okay, so is this sheet wrong? It's telling me I need one test, one challenging test to advance.
Where are we? Where are we? What sheet?
The character sheet is
My
wrong.
character sheet.
The character sheet
The
at
character
resource
sheet
0
is
says
wrong.
you need 1 challenging test.
The character
Character
sheet
sheet's totally wrong.
always says you need a challenging test, even if you don't.
Okay. So you just need 1 test
To
of any type.
advance from resources 0 to resources 1, you only need a routine test.
Oh, okay, so
Okay,
routine test.
that fixes
Are
the
you
damn
already
problem.
resources 1 then?
No.
No, I'm resources 0.
Resource 0, the character
Okay.
sheet is wrong. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, resources advance like a skill as well, but only successful tests count. But because your first one is 0, you pretty much you can't there's no beginner's luck. So
Yeah.
So the character sheet
No,
is
my problem
dumb.
was the sheet. Yeah,
Like, do you
my
have a
problem was
blank
the sheet
attribute?
because it was saying no.
right,
You don't have a
And
blank
then
Well, I have
attribute.
2 blank attributes.
Yeah, put in 0 for
Right.
one of them and see what it says.
Right.
It's wrong. It's
and
totally
then
wrong.
for an OB1 test on 1 die, the player may choose whether the test is routine or difficult.
Okay.
Because that's page 41 on determining routine difficult challenges.
So resources is different. Cool.
All right, so I'm
I think-
spending 2 persona and dropping my 2 cash dice to get this damn test passed so I can log it.
Okay. Do it.
Obstacle 2.
Get money.
Nope.
What?
It says I'm incapacitated because it's a 0. You're not allowed to roll it. So let me do
Well,
that
it's not-
again
it's not
by
even
rolling
like-
46.
Letting you roll it to begin with. Okay.
I'll just roll
the,
46.
the
for it.
character sheet's glitched. It says the
What?
initial skill is 0, and so it's not letting you do it to
Well,
begin with.
when any other stat is 0, you are incapacitated. If your will is 0, you can't roll it. You're incapacitated.
Yeah,
so-
even if you spent Artha and 10 bonuses.
Well, that's good to know.
That's
It's just
pretty
a
dumb.
broad stroke thing that they missed.
Well, now you have a resources
Okay, so
1
46.
plus 1.
46.
There. Look at that.
You did
2
it.
successes.
2. You had. Hey, and now you have resources 1. Yay! But you did
All right.
you did lose the cash.
Yes.
Can I get some help then? If you,
Yeah, I'll
Lord
help you.
Edwin, how much do you help me for? Is that just one
One
plus 1
die.
die?
Yeah.
Okay. I also really want to advance this, so I'm going to spend
Please spend
1
all
die
your
of cash, and then 1 die from help. Then, knowing my luck, screw it, 3 persona, because I don't want to spend just 2 persona, and then roll the same chances.
Yeah,
and
get
go
some
and fail.
6s, please.
Yes.
Come on,
So
6s.
5d6 greater than 4. Really?
Oh.
Really? I used 3 persona to cash on that test and so failed.
I get taxed again.
All right.
This
No
is
6.
bad.
No 6s.
No 6s either.
Did you want to spend
I-
one more persona? It sounded like you might have had a third.
I did have another persona, but I thought you told me that the max was 3 on a single roll.
Oh, I thought you only did 2 here.
No, I did spend 3 and still failed.
Okay.
I was like, I'll probably fail knowing my luck, and yep.
Do I get taxed
I did.
again? Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Or looking at
So-
this, either the cash or your help, whichever one came first, was the only thing that actually did decently.
Guys,
Right.
I'm going to work a job.
Roll.
Just forget it.
No, hang on. You didn't ask Nico for help. He's got resources 1.
He does. Right.
Yeah.
He does have resources 1. Okay. Does Nico help?
Yes.
Nico does
yes,
help.
Nico does help.
Woohoo!
I don't
So-
get taxed again, thank
like-
goodness.
There-
So I
yeah,
have,
you
I
don't
have
get
this
taxed.
picture of like Ernest sitting at a desk in the dark with a cigarette in his mouth,
Yeah,
and he's
and
like
just,
going
like,
over this
piles-
ledger,
piles
and he
of
just
bills.
can't get it done. And Nico comes in and just drops a gold coin on the desk, and he's like, "Don't worry about it."
Nice. So that wasn't an additional tax.
Okay.
Ernest now has
Thank
resources
goodness.
1 as well.
My
But he
luck
lost
is
his
not
cash,
For long. Yes.
and Nico got an OB2 check.
And keep track of how much persona and Arthur, you just spent in your
I
resources.
need
'cause
one
that'll-
more routine check. Then I'll have resources 5, and I can help you guys with 2 dice.
So now I have to go through all of these other skills and see like what I'm one challenging off of, because I might not actually be one challenging off of it.
Yeah.
Can't believe I had
So we don't-
falsehood all this time.
Yeah. So when we have resources 1, we need 1 routine and 1 difficult. Is that correct? We don't need any challenging still.
Wait, what?
You only need one routine. One
routine.
pass test.
Even
Oh,
when
no.
you have-
Wait. I was saying that because you have resources 0.
Exactly. So how much do you need when you have resources 1? What do you
Oh, okay, yeah.
You still need 1 routine
Go on.
test.
I am looking it up. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, because
Wait, no, that's routine. All right, tests. All right, for skills, at 1, you need 1 routine and a difficult or challenging.
and a difficult or challenging. Okay.
Wait a minute. This is a stat, right? Or is
Resources is stat, but I believe it's
Resources is a
advanced
skill.
treaties.
Resources advances as a skill.
It advances as a skill.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Cool.
And
So you need
for
one, and
for your 1D as a resource, and op 2 is challenging. So you just get a challenging for your resources.
Yeah.
Nico,
And then
for help and Ernest.
nice.
oh right, for helping, because we can now help each other. We can all help
Because
each other.
when you only have 1, routine and difficult is both 1.
Yeah.
But you get to decide which one.
So now you have resources 2?
I have resources 1 from 0.
No, I need a
Both.
routine test, and I'll have resources
routine
too.
test.
Soon we will have money.
So we should all just pitch in and help Nico produce some cash at some point.
we should, right now, in fact.
Yeah, we.
Well, that,
Well, I
that,
mean,
would get,
yeah.
that would get him another challenging. That wouldn't get him a difficult. routine.
Let's just leave Nico hanging because he's going to disappear into the ether soon.
Yeah.
And he'll come back.
So, all right. So
Practice resources.
I believe we are done with resources, unless there was anything you guys else wanted to do.
No,
Other-
I want to
other
work
than-
a job.
No, let's